Hi guys, my name is Bunsey. I'm going to do acknowledgement to country and then I'll do all of the intros. So I'm placed on the Darug and Guringai people's land, and Joey is placed on the land of the Camaragal people. They're the traditional custodians of the land. Today we're meeting in the online space, and I'd like to offer my respects to elders past, present and emerging for all of the lands that we're uniting from. So, welcome to Joey's fantastic book launch. It's been a few months in the making, and it's been really exciting to be alongside the journey. So, who am I? For anyone who hasn't met me, I am his accountability buddy, and he is mine. So, I have found out through that process that he is a very structured person and a master of reflection. And a couple of times he's actually really helped me bring a really good lens to my own personal decision making. So I was super excited when he decided to write the book. I've learned quite a few things, but I'm lucky enough to have had a preview. So I'm sitting here just bragging away. Lucky enough to have had a preview, and I've learned even more than through my accountability relationship with Joey. So I am really excited that you guys made the time to help him celebrate and to launch. So what we're going to do is we have collected a lot of questions in the registration process. But what we'll be doing is if you want to pop anything in the chat while we're speaking, the bouncer will let us know where, of all of the questions, and we'll weave them in as we go. Yeah, so welcome to welcome to all the newcomers. So I can see Akash, Dara. Yeah, welcome. So Joey, give us a bit of an overview of the process of decision making.
Yeah, sure. So the first of all, thanks everyone for coming. This is a bit surreal. Having a launch party. It's fantastic. Thank you everyone for coming. So the decision-making process is it's split into 3 stages, and I call it a decision expedition. So whereas previously I would come to a decision and I would be like, okay, I've just got these crossroads in front of me. Which direction seems the least painful? Make the decision, move on, and that's it. That's what I do previously. When I was introduced to the whole idea of decision journaling and like the art of decision making in 2018, and started refining this process and distilling it down, it turned out there was like 3 main stages. And so these are the different stages of what I call the decision expedition. It's turning a decision, a vexing stop at the crossroads, into a adventure. And so the first stage is what I call charting. So you got a whole bunch of ideas, and you're possibly overwhelmed by, like, where do you start? You got this decision in front of you, and it's just like, I just don't know how to get my arms around this. And so the book walks you through different tools to clarify and to articulate and to basically get everything down in a structured way, so that you can be more clear about the different parts that are in front of you. And so that's the first stage. And once you're clear, the next stage is choosing. So it takes you through a process for recording and journaling your decision, so that you can like, I don't know about you, but if you've ever come across a decision where you've regretted it, you ask yourself, what was I thinking? And you've asked it rhetorically, because there's no way to go back and think, like, and ask yourself to reflect, what was I thinking? So when you in this stage where you journal it, the second stage, it basically sets the stage for you to be able to do that. And so the final stage is the check stage, where you can review your process. You look at things like, did I have any blind spots in my decision making? Was I disciplined in the way I executed the decision, or did I just quit when it got hard? And then look at ways to integrate any insights that you get into further decisions, either in the same domain, or then you might find that the insights are more general. And so, yeah, those are the three main stages.
And do you repeat them for big decisions and little decisions, Joey, or what do we do?
Yeah. So
I'm throwing him off. I've just
no, that's okay. That's okay. You can go off script. So yeah. So when I first learned about this, I thought it was going to become a crystal ball for me, because like one of the hard things about making decisions was the uncertainty around the future. It's just like, if I take this path, where is it going to lead me? Where am I going to end up? And so I started to try and apply this process to a lot of decisions that were fairly minor. For example, I was into machine learning and AI at the time, and there was a whole bunch of competitions, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I don't know whether to enter this competition or not. Maybe I should decision journal it. And back then it took me a while as well. The process wasn't as streamlined as it is now. And so there's the work you got to do for that upfront. And then if you're going to apply to a bunch of other decisions, then it just multiplies out, and it became unmanageable really quickly. And then it basically squeezes out time for the really important decisions. So it's like that old thing where if you prioritize everything, nothing gets prioritized. And it's a bit like decisions as well. If you deliberate on every single decision, no one decision actually gets the consideration and the time it deserves. Yeah. And so I've got a tool in the book. It's one of the first tools, called the impact reversibility matrix. And so you have to think about whether how high the impact is on the how high impact a decision it is, and how reversible it is. So with entering a machine learning competition, it's highly reversible because I can just quit at any time. Could potentially leave a bunch of teammates in a lurch and maybe wreck my reputation. So maybe it's like, maybe you've got to take those into account if you pull out. But and in terms of the impact, it's really one of those decisions that is, the upside is fairly high, in that you can build a reputation. You can meet some cool teammates and build a relationship with other professionals in the community. And the downside is very small. Like it's the time you put into it, and really you can probably quit at any time as well. Yeah. So that's like the decision it's a cautionary tale that I went through in the book of like, okay, so like once you learn this, it might be like a bit of a runaway. I want to apply this to everything, and I want to become a decision-making grandmaster. But I think a true decision-making grandmaster can apply to the meta decision of should I actually run this through the process? Is it irreversible enough? Is it high impact enough to warrant this? And so, yeah, and we go through that as well in the book.
Yeah. So what's the difference between, you said, becoming the grandmaster at it? What if you're feeling like you're procrastinating, as opposed to just taking a really long time to apply this process? We had this question from Kairavi and Tavis. So it's quite a popular question, actually. How do you know if I'm just copying out?
Yeah, and welcome to Kay, Ravi, and Tavis if they're on the call. Oh, they're there. Hello. Yeah, it's a good question, because you can be just like deliberating on a decision and not actually executing. And so it's however, there is also a case of underthinking a decision, and I don't think that concern gets explored enough. I think I hear people say, no, just don't overthink it. And but you never really hear people say, don't underthink it, right? And so the way I see it is, if you can apply the impact and reversibility matrix to this. It's if you're about to like go buy a birthday card for K Ravi, and you're going to spend an hour on it, like as wonderful a human being K Ravi is, it might be a little bit like, it might be a little bit of overkill, right? To spend an hour trying to decide on the card. And so it's because it's like, how many people really like keep their birthday cards? I mean, I've kept pretty much all the birthday cards from Bunty. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's probably not going to be a highly impactful decision. And you know what? There's always next birthday, as long as your birthday card isn't so inappropriate that you're not going to get invited to next year's one, right? So on the other hand, you might like, if you're considering a career change, deliberating on that for an hour might be underthinking it, right? You might want to have a think, not just thinking with the material that you've got, but also generating questions for to get deeper into it, and to maybe who do you know in your network that can provide you with the answers, and so on. So I feel like I might have gone a little bit far away from procrastination, but like, in terms of the procrastination problem, it can be one of those things as well, where when you're overwhelmed by a decision, it's easy to procrastinate, right? Because you don't, a feeling of overwhelm is uncomfortable and you just want to get away from it. So it's like, instead of sitting down and deliberating on this decision, I'm going to go and triage my inbox that I haven't been bothered to triage for the last 6 months, but hey, now seems like a really good time to do it. And the book basically provides you with an entry point, so that no matter how overwhelmed you are, it provides you with a process for decluttering your mind first up, and then taking those streams of organized thoughts and using 6 different tools to craft what I call a rationale, or your why for your final decision. And so it becomes a virtuous cycle, because the less overwhelmed you are, the more likely you will be to sit down and do the work, which will make you less overwhelmed, which will make you less likely to procrastinate, which will make you more likely to do the work. And then it becomes this great virtuous cycle. On the other hand, you procrastinate, you get distracted, you start getting overwhelmed by the looming deadline, which is getting closer and closer and closer, and you haven't done the work. It's yeah, you become stuck in your own head and unable to move, and that's not a great place to be.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a great place to be at all. What about the gut feel in the decision-making process, Joey? We had Jeremy ask about that. It kind of reminds me of that coin toss technique in your book, actually, which, yeah, can you maybe give us a really tangible technique that we can go away with today?
Yeah, sure. And so this is actually one of the techniques in the book, which is it's as easy as flipping a coin. So you so let's say you're trying to decide between investing. The example of the book was investing in stocks. So should I invest in stocks this month or not? And so the idea is that if you're want to tap your intuition, you flip a coin and you basically say heads I invest, tails I don't. By the way, not financial advice, but education and entertainment purposes only. So you, yes. So yeah, so you basically say heads I invest, tails I don't. And before looking at the coin, you check in with yourself and you think to yourself, what side do I want to come up for me? Do I want heads, or do I want tails to come up? And that is a way of basically tapping your intuition. You're being led somewhere before you actually before you actually know what side the head is, what side the coin is coming up. And actually what side the coin comes up as is far less important than basically what you were hoping would come up. And that's just one tool. All the tools aren't about flipping coins. This is a more intuition-based tool there is. A lot of the other tools in there are probably more deliberate, but I think it is also important to not it's important to listen to your emotions as well, and to listen to your gut, and that becomes another piece of information that you can use to craft your rationale and make your final decision.
Mm. Sounds awesome. On to a question that we got submitted. It's a little bit more fun, which is, why did you crowdsource the choice of your cover?
Yeah. So
Why didn't you decision journal it?
full disclosure, I did not decision journal any part of the cover design. I'm sorry, I'm a fraud. Please still be my friend. But yeah, so
As long as I get a good birthday card, I will.
What's that? Sorry?
As long as I get a good birthday card, I will.
Okay, yeah. All the decisions are meshing into one. That came from Chris. Is Chris on the call at the moment?
No,
I didn't see his name come up.
I didn't see Chris. No.
Okay, that's okay. Well, if Chris, if you're up there and listening, no. Chris, so I can't remember when I actually connected. Sorry, this question came from a contact of mine on LinkedIn named Chris, and so when Chris and I connected, I can't remember when we did. I think it was maybe a year ago, or maybe even 2 years ago. But I guess like you connect with a lot of people on social media, especially on LinkedIn, and I noticed that we hadn't messaged each other. Like there was no like, hey, like thanks for the connection or anything like that. We must have just like slipped through each other's nets. And so one of the great things about posting something like a cover design on social media and asking for people's feedback is that it's a great conversation starter. And so Chris registered his vote, and which was really helpful, as a bunch of people did, and it was really helpful. I got so much so much feedback, and it was amazing. And so so after Chris had put in his vote, I just made sure I messaged him and said, hey Chris, thank you so much for your feedback on the cover design. Just wanted to I realized we haven't actually connected yet, and I just wanted to understand a little bit more about like what you're into and what you're up to at the moment. And so I can, and the idea behind that is to just basically break the ice and to start that relationship, but also to understand a little bit more about what the people in my network are working on and where I can be of use, and so yeah, so can help each other out and give value. So that's one reason. And another reason is that it's like such a great way to boost awareness of a project that you're working on, to basically ask an opinion about something. And I don't mean like don't like ask for an opinion that you care about, that you're actually going to take on board and stuff. But yeah, it's such a great way to boost awareness, because people love giving opinions, and because those opinions register as engagement on social media, and then they get boosted as well. And then the post and the project gets put in front of people that might not have otherwise seen it. And so it was, yeah, it was just really good to be able to reach other people. And once again, like even if the people weren't on my network, I might just thank them for their time, for telling me their choice, but I'd also just like learn a bit more about them, and perhaps also yeah, start a friendship from there. And so it was really useful from that perspective. But I think the big elephant in the room is that I thought I was good at book cover design, because I love drawing and I love painting, and but the first iteration was a big lesson in humility for me, that I'm not good at cover design, and that's all right. I'm not, certain things I'm not good at, and yeah, so it was just really good to get feedback about how the designs are landing for people, because like the eyeball can't see itself.
Mm.
You're looking at something and you're really close to it, and it's Bunty's trying to see if
I
her
just
eyeballs can see
just
themselves.
no.
And so yeah, it's just it's outside feedback is just so valuable. And like I sorted out for the words in my book, and I was just like, why not do it for other elements of my book as well? The cover should not be an afterthought. A lot of people do judge a book by its cover, and so it's important to start that first impression off well. And so yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was wonderful that you said that it's a lesson in humility. I actually was applying your model to a serious decision earlier this week, and I floated the idea by a mentor of mine. She gave me another option that I completely hadn't considered. So,
Mm,
it's really nice to share this, I think, with a lot of people, this way of thinking, so that you're not kind of randomly giving them information and they don't know from which frame to give you advice. So,
yeah,
yeah, I think the model's been really good for that, for me personally, anyway. We
amazing.
have 4 minutes to go.
Oh wow.
I know, yeah, the time's absolutely flown. So we have one more question um, before we, people might have to start going places. So,
Mm.
what are you hoping will be the impact of your book?
Yeah, so specifically, I'd really like people to for people like me that looked at decisions as like a threat looming on the horizon. I'd really love for people to reframe it and to see decisions as an adventure, like an opportunity to for self-discovery and for learning, and to be possibly be strengthen their reflective capabilities, which goes into the more general aspect of it, which is I I'm a big fan, as you mentioned before, Bunsey. I'm a big fan of reviews, and I don't think they should be done on the 31st of December. I feel like that's just leaving a lot of insight on the table, and so I really hope it will. It's a bit of a Trojan horse for reviews in general. So if people start realizing the power of reviewing their decisions, they might also start reviewing other things in their life as well. Maybe just like how their week has gone, what things are energizing them, what things are draining their battery, and they can get into an energy management piece and prioritize their lives and design their lives accordingly. And so it's yeah, it's I really like the quote. I think it's a James Clear quote. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the idea that reading and consuming other people's stuff can teach you the best of what they know, but reviewing and reflecting can teach you the best of what only you can know. And that kind of stuff is just super important. And I hope people will start to tap those insights and live an awesome life, a
Yeah.
more awesome life. Your life is already awesome.
Absolutely. And your quote about reflection was so wonderful. You're the master of reflection, so
Thanks.
the kind of figures that would be one of your favorite. We had a really useful question from Jeremy about when does the book come out? He's pre-ordered it. I've pre-ordered it. So you're like third bestseller now, I hear.
Yeah. That was on Friday, so I gotta check it out. I'm trying really hard to not check up on that too much because I don't really have any control over it. So it's yeah. So the book is coming out tomorrow. I can't remember the exact time. I think it will be 11 o'clock Sydney time, because that was the cutoff on Monday. It was 11 o'clock on Monday. So I'm expecting it will get pushed to everyone's Kindles at 11 o'clock. I should really check that out. Sorry, everyone.
We'll post an answer. Yeah, we'll look it up and we'll post an answer through. How do we forecast this one, Joey? I'm trying not to do the "I told you so" as a really good MC, but how do we get a signed version of the book?
Oh yeah, thanks, Giles. Thanks for throwing the spanner in the works. I'm not even sure if he really wants it. I think he's just trying to. Yeah, I think he's just trying to be a challenge, which he's
Just
really
trying to
good
butter you up.
at.
Yeah, I want to butter you up too. So if anyone has a drink handy, whether it be a glass of water or Whatever you got, we prepared. Here's one we prepared earlier. So we want to just say, Joey, you've done an amazing job working so hard for so many months on the book, making sure that the message is going to be the most helpful as possible to all of your readers. Just super, super proud of you, basically, and so
Ah,
excited for your big milestone tomorrow, Joey. So cheers.
thank you, Vancy. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for
Cheers.
coming. It's so this support is so amazing. I was saying before, it's so surreal. To the idea of a book launch just seems so surreal to me, and it means so much that you're here to share this with me. So thank you.
Absolutely. And you want to give everyone a bonus, I heard, as well.
Yeah. So for everyone on this call, I'd like, as a token of my appreciation, I'd like to offer everyone a one-on-one session with me to talk through where you're at with any decision. So I mentioned before that the book is modeled around what I call a decision expedition, turns a decision into an adventure. And so what I'll offer on this call is what I call a mini expedition. So you'll probably be at one of the stages of the expedition. So it'll be either the chart, the choose, and or the check state. And I'd love the opportunity to basically walk you through where you're at and talk about next steps for your decision. So I will follow up in the next couple of days. I'll send an email to everyone on this call with more information about how we can book some time together. And I'm super excited to take a mini expedition together.
That's so exciting. Yeah, it's exciting. As someone who's been on a few already, there's some really fun destinations we've gone to. Some battle scars. No, I'm joking. It doesn't
Yeah. Yeah. What? There's no fun adventure without scars, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, lots of fun along the way. Some really deep and meaningful, questions as well. I think that's the value. If someone asks you a really pointed question, it does so much to uncover your inner world, I think. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of round off by saying to everyone, thank you so, so much for coming today. I hope you've picked up a couple of, practical techniques like the question about the gut feel, the coin toss, and he's got really wonderful names for all of the techniques. As Joey mentioned, he'll reach out by email. A recording will be available of this call as well. So if you want to share with your friends who couldn't make it, do feel free to share. And yeah, countdown's on to 11 o'clock tomorrow. So exciting. Yay! So thank you for being here to celebrate Joey and the book. And we might wind up the call now. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.